In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Teach us, good Lord, to serve you as you deserve, to give and not to count the cost, to fight and not to heed the wounds, to toil and not to seek for rest, to labour and not to ask for any reward, save that of knowing that we do your will. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Good afternoon. As I walk the corridors of our school, I feel the love inspired by the Gospels within our culture. Truly, I see the word living among pupils and staff. The school under Andrew's leadership and in the care of our staff is a very special place. Those that know me will know that I do not wear rose-tinted glasses. With so many years of my life spent managing risks and crises for thousands of hotels around the world, I'm very well aware of what can go wrong in life. I look to the future and travel in hope, with a strong sense of purpose, constantly driving transformation towards our vision and building resilience against the perils of the world. My family motto instructs me to neither act rashly nor timidly. That kind of fits well with my life. During the COVID years, Downside, like so many schools and other businesses, has been through a very challenging time. And the outlook as we try to recover, with the threat of VAT on school fees and the full business rates for charitable schools, is no less challenging. It's very evident that for some years now, that Downside has chosen to prioritise spending on public pupil education over investment in the fabric of the school. Whilst laudable, this is not sustainable. We need to actively do both. Ultimately, the way to achieve this is to grow the number of pupils attracted to the school and so increase our income. Put simply, we need a plan for growth. To remain relevant and to thrive, we must adapt and embrace the changes seen in the education marketplace and deliver on expectations of our families. Some of this is about raising the standards of boys' boarding accommodation to mirror that offered to the girls. However, there is a more exciting opportunity. I'm pleased to announce today that we are working to deliver in short order a new sixth form centre. Abbot Nicholas has agreed in principle that we can convert the monks' refectory into a study and leisure area for the sixth form. It's a relatively modern room above the World Refectory, with beautiful views and high ceilings. We hope this stunning opportunity will boost our numbers in the sixth form. And if this goes to plan, we hope to use more of the old monastery over time to provide the necessary flexibility needed to refurbish the boarding houses and build the school offering even further. This, of course, is a vision that will take some years to fully realise, but every journey requires the first step. At the same time, we must continue to strive to renew and strengthen our roots as a Catholic community, building relationships at home and internationally, to continue to be a school which serves our world through its formation and education of young people. The pastoral aspects of Downside's vision are already in excellent shape. This is a Catholic and Benedictine school with Christ at its centre. It is a bright light in education and inspires service in our world. A special thanks to all involved in the chaplaincy team here at Downside. It is a very special and unique thing. A Downside education aims to deliver excellence in added academic value, both for the strong and the less able. We want to help each pupil and all to become the very best that they can be, identifying and fostering talents in a way that both celebrates differences in individuals and in the collective strength of our community. As a Cornishman, I must promote our county motto, which is one and all. As an old Gregorian, I hope you'll continue to be part of the community for the rest of your days. In typical Benedictine fashion, pupils' strengths are stretched and their weaknesses are supported. The immediate outcome, of course, is about strong academic results, but also a person able to succeed and grow in good times and bad into people who can find a way to fulfillment. Downside is highly distinctive in the world of education. It teaches knowledge, skills, and developed competencies in the classroom and through a vast range of extracurricular experiences, but I think most impressively through the diverse community of people that come together to support pupils through our purpose, values, beliefs, and Benedictine traditions. Downside equips pupils to live a purposeful and rewarding life, lived for the benefit of others. A downside education is, I believe, the best way to help pupils start their journey of understanding their life's ultimate purpose, equipping them to define success for themselves and to discover a role that is truly worthwhile, motivating and rewarding. I wish all our leavers all the best that life has to offer. Understanding God's purpose for ourselves in the context of eternal life helps us question and identify which treasures are worth striving for and which we should let go. We all want to be successful, and our own definition of success will likely change as we progress through life. And so too must the way we live our lives. Success is seldom fatal, and success is seldom final, and failure is seldom fatal. Learning to strive and thrive in life's turmoil, whilst guided and powered by vocation, ensures that over time the right treasures are sought and better decisions are made. We must all strive to travel in hope and act in love, keeping God at the centre of our lives. We must transform from thinking about self to acting for others. How we achieve success is just as important as what we achieve. When I was asked to become chairman quite recently, I wrote myself a short prayer, and I'll end my words with it. But first, a few more thank yous, if I may. We're blessed with having a strong and good relationship with the community of St. Gregory the Great. We thank them for their support and for the support they give the Mankewe movement, who with Father Michael and the chaplaincy team together have kept the light of Christ burning brightly. Through the Mass, retreats, daily prayers, and the work of St. Scholastica groups through Lectio Divina and Tutoria, pupils and staff have generally grown, engaged with their spiritual lives. I characterize this development of maturity over the years as moving from a parent-child relationship between monks and both pupils and staff to an adult-to-adult relationship with God. We also owe a huge vote of thanks to the governors and staff in the school for their excellent work, engagement, determination, and consistency of purpose, especially within the context of COVID, and the increased cost of living that has impacted everybody. On behalf of the governors and staff, I'd like to thank all of you parents too, for not only partnering with them to form your sons and daughters, but also for paying your fees on time and in full so that we can pay the staff wages. These are not easy times for our school, which is covering from the cascading global crises that have blighted our world in recent years. Every penny counts. The school owes a huge debt to our whole community. The school has only survived, really, because of the generosity of the community of St. Gregory the Great. also old Gregorians and friends of Downside, those still living and those that have gone before us. The 1814 Society is for giving to the school today, and the Peter Society is for giving a legacy to either the monastic community or the school. It would be remiss of me not to recommend both to you and thank everyone who is supporting us on our journey of recovery, resilience to strength. Well, let's be fair, it wouldn't be a Catholic gathering, would it now, if there wasn't a collection plate? So please join me in a moment of reflection after I share that prayer. Lord, please do not let me work alone. Send me help to do your will. May we travel in hope and act in love. May those that are in our charge flourish. Together, may we light the world and inspire others to love you. Amen. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and a big welcome to all teachers, pupils, governors, and families here today, especially those who have travelled from far away. Anna and I were discussing what the main points were going to be for this speech, as it is our final opportunity to speak in front of you all. We came up with a few categories that we felt were most important to us, which can resonate with you regarding leavers, parents, and pupils carrying on throughout the school. We spoke about the 2023 leavers and our time here at Downside, the opportunities that Downside provides, and how to make the most of them.
This is quite a special moment for both of us, as it is our final day here alongside the rest of the upper sixth, some who have been here since first form, 7 years, which is a very long time. From first and second formers, where our year was yet to feel complete, with girls and boys lacking familiarity and communicating less with one another, to third form, where a whole new bulk of Downside pupils joined from all over the world. It is in third form the dynamic changes. You are more integrated with your year, and you are able to socialise much more using the PAL Day Room, one of the many places our year group got banned from. We all joined CCF, and it was very exciting beginning this new chapter, where we could take part in night exercises and bronze DV, even though quite a lot of us got lost.
For the boys, after third form, we moved into our senior houses. We are classed now as senior pupils, although we didn't always act like it. The fourth form was a tricky year for our year, as COVID hit, and we were forced to work online, which for many of us was definitely a shock and a struggle. However, we came back in fifth form in the year group bubbles to continue on for our adapted GCSEs. This year was unlike so many others for most people, and it taught us to embrace a new way of learning and deepen connections with one another, despite being online and separate for so many months. By our lower sixth year, many more people had joined, and our year was now stronger and closer than ever, and possibly more mature. This is when our year started to make more of an effect on the senior teams and started to make our own individual impacts on the school as you become more confident within yourself.
Finally, we reached upper sixth. This evidently is the hardest year and quite possibly the year where the most change of characters took place, as we take on leadership positions and we started to properly look towards our future. A-levels are very challenging, as I'm sure everyone knows or will find out, but it is a good way to prove yourself so you can show what you can achieve with hard work and determination. Even with our exams happening, we still had time to rest. We would go outside as a year and play our own game, volleyball/football, and still continue to enjoy the other aspects of Downside life. Some may say it's astonishing that our year has come this far if you knew us in third form. You will be surprised to see how much we have grown. We hope by sharing our time with you throughout our school, it will reassure you pupils that it will work itself out. We have been through a long journey and many struggles, and we are now here where we are today, and to create long life friendships.
Downside, as you know, has a key aim to develop the character and confidence of young people through co-curricular opportunities. Music has been a big part of Downside for generations, And for Anna and I, music has been a very predominant part of our lives, alongside so many others. Music has allowed friendships to grow, artistic nature to shine through. This was definitely and clearly seen last night during the Music for a Summer's Evening. If you missed it this year, you should definitely come next year. It showed Downside's enthusiasm for creativity and for fun.
The sport has improved dramatically over our time here, thanks to our excellent coaches who are always willing to put on extra one-to-one sessions or group sessions to improve your skills. The girls' sport especially has developed so much over the past few years, with the girls so determined to better themselves. One thing that sets Downside Sport apart from many other schools is that no matter whether we win or lose, we are not bitter or arrogant. We learn from our losses and we take wins in our stride. Furthermore, there are so many aspects to get involved in, and from our experience, it is worth it. We have created so many unexpected friendships, and this keeps the community alive.
We've always seen Downsides to radiate a specific type of atmosphere, created through its teachers and its pupils alike. It's hard to put into words, but we almost regard this as Downside spirit. It's a spirit that is one of a kind and makes Downside truly unique. It may be the Catholic nature, which is no question at the heart of Downside life, or it may be the old heritage, as Father Michael mentioned, that has gradually shaped Downside to be what it is today. We think it's important that we acknowledge these fundamental aspects, as throughout our years here we have experienced so much change, but yet Downside spirit has never wavered. And I think any OGs here today can agree with me when I say that. Yet, Downside is evolving. It's not the same, and it shouldn't be. It is consistently being pushed to become better and better. As we see a new modernity arising here, we look to the future with optimism, and I'm excited about what is to come. As we leave school, we trust in you, the pupils, to maintain the Downside spirit and help your school to continue in the right direction by taking advantage of any opportunities that Downside may provide, so it can be the best it can be, and so people can have even more opportunities than what we have today.
Finally, we would like to thank everyone on behalf of the Upper Sixth, all staff and faculty who have helped us through our journey, whether it's house staff and teachers or cleaners and caterers who do so much and always find a way to brighten up our day with just a small chat. We would also like to say a personal thank you from both of us to Mr. Hobbs for giving us this amazing opportunity to be heads of school of this year. Best of luck to Bea and Dolly, who will be next year's heads of school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ernest Shackleton is someone for whom I have the utmost admiration. Defying his father's aspirations for him to pursue a career in medicine, he instead set his heart on being the first person to reach the South Pole. He made 2 attempts, on the second of which in 1907 he got within touching distance before he had to turn back. Then, to his enormous disappointment, in 1911, his rival, a Norwegian explorer, Roald Amundsen, beat him to it. Undeterred, Shackleton made it his new goal to be the first to make an expedition across the continent of Antarctica, passing through the South Pole. He set out on the ship Endurance in August 1914, along with 26 companions. They never even made it to Antarctica. In January, the ship became ice-locked near South Georgia in the South Atlantic. Shackleton and his men had to abandon the ship and return home. So, no prizes for Shackleton. And perhaps, as he and his men survived on the ice for several months and only managed narrowly to escape when the spring came, he might have been thinking he should have listened to his father and become a doctor. Not a bit of it. Even if he'd failed to achieve what he set out to do, he was unquestionably growing into the person he felt called to be. What makes the story of the Endurance so remarkable is that throughout the whole ordeal, no one died. There was no mutiny. His companions did not resort to self-interest, but worked with and for each other until they returned home safe. Far from failing, Shackleton was entirely successful in fulfilling his vocation to be a polar explorer. Our goals are important, but sometimes they need adapting, as the story of Shackleton powerfully demonstrates. And I think this story has resonance as we gather here today. Goals are essential in schools, but it's vital for schools not to become too narrowly focused on the achievement of targets, obtaining qualifications and accumulating certificates or awards. If viewed principally from this perspective, the true value of education can become obscured. Education, at its most powerful, is about formation, about discerning who we are and establishing what contribution we can most valuably make. Trophies are great, they are encouraging, and they are invariably well-deserved, but they are incidental to who we are. They do not define us. Those who use them as foundations to build upon find they are building on sand. Ernest Shackleton was building on rock. He followed his calling, and his actions derived from that conviction, whether it brought accolades or not. Recently, I was asked most disarmingly by a 12-year-old prospective pupil what I most enjoy about being the head of Downside. I'm not sure how convincingly I answered at that particular moment, as the question came hot on the heels of receiving a call to inform me that the arrival of the school inspectors was imminent. Enjoy was not the first word that sprang to mind in that moment, but actually, that question and my unlikely inquisitor were exactly what I needed to shock me out of my immediate thoughts of inspection, as it made me appreciate what a great privilege my responsibility affords me. My considered answer to that question is that I am continually struck by how immensely rewarding it is to be able to play a part in the ongoing formation of young people and to belong to a community in which pupils, their parents, staff and governors are genuinely engaging with that process, not simply taking part in a transaction, not doing things because they will look good on a UCAS form or because they will promote us in a league table or simply to fill up our trophy cabinets. Children cannot be seen as commodities who feel judged and measured merely on their output, but rather must be treated as valued individuals who are encouraged and nurtured to explore and understand their strengths and weaknesses. Not to hate and hide their imperfections, but to recognize them with humility and sometimes even celebrate them, adopting an attitude of openness to growth and change. Let me share with you a few examples of what I do enjoy. I love the fact that the recent applicants for the position of head of school put themselves forward, not because they want power or status, but out of a genuine desire to serve their community. I rejoice that one of our pupils last week, and he wouldn't be alone, chose to spend time teaching maths to junior pupils whilst he was still in the middle of his A-levels. I find it hugely enjoyable to watch our sports teams so obviously motivated by the joy of playing, whatever the eventual result of the match. Or attend newly established cloister concerts, where whether the performer is a beginner or at diploma standard, they are encouraged and celebrated as musicians, not judged as technicians. It's uplifting to observe the culture of the house debating competition, where team captains encourage younger pupils to participate, allowing them to learn and grow. One experienced debater mentioned recently how much she had learned from her novice teammate. As any teacher knows, we learn most when we engage in teaching someone else. And as St. Francis's famous prayer reminds us, it is in giving that we receive. An irony exemplified only too clearly by the visit of a group from Pilar School in Mexico last week, whom we welcomed and from whom we gained so much. I love the fact that the speakers at this term's hymn practice talks have been almost exclusively given by pupils. Pupils who have wanted to share a message which is important to them and have felt the confidence to do this. I've been struck by their courage, but also by the warmth and generosity of their peers, whose spontaneous and genuine applause have resonated in demonstration of their support. I love the generosity shown by our senior pupils to commit their time and energy to participating in the communities of St. John, St. Luke and St. Teresa, supporting lectio groups, the sacramental life and the culture of service in our school. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. This is Downside's distinctiveness, and I think it is what has led recent visitors to the school to remark how invested and committed in the school community they felt both pupils and staff were, on the warmth of relationships, the energy they observed around the school, and the openness and maturity of our pupils. This is not something which happens by chance, nor is it something which can be taken for granted. The word normal has enjoyed the limelight in the last couple of years, but we should be cautious about being seduced by the comfort we associate with normality, nor see it as an attractive destination, even if it is dressed up with its now familiar accompanying adjective, new. Formation must be ongoing. Our commitment to transformation remains strong, and it is at the heart of our Benedictine roots. To be able to announce that we will have a new sixth form centre in the Pollen Wing using what was previously the Monks' Refectory is enormously exciting. This is a fantastic space which can be quickly and easily redesigned and adapted to enhance the experience of our sixth formers, providing them with a facility specifically tailored to their needs and affording them greater independence as they study and spend their leisure time. We will, of course, be careful to maintain and develop further the strong foundation of service which is dependent on our sixth form pupils fully engaging in the leadership of the school and in their houses. Our model for leadership is rooted in the rule of St. Benedict, and we've been enormously blessed to have such a fruitful relationship with the Menke Way Apostolic movement, and particularly to have the support of St. Scholastica community, established in 2015, whose members today comprise Cristobal, Rodrigo and Vicente, joined for a large part of this year by Pascual. They provide a wonderful example of Benedictine leadership, serving our community selflessly. They embody the word of God without ever attempting to impose it, helping to foster the strong spiritual friendship which lies at the centre of our relationships. Whilst Downside has undergone considerable structural change in recent times, the St. Scholastica community has helped us to renew and strengthen our commitment to our core purpose as a Catholic and Benedictine school. As they return to Chile for a period of discernment, whilst they prepare for the election of a new superior for their community, we wish them well and assure them of our prayers. We've been building on rock, and we will continue to develop the transformative work they have begun with us, so that when they return, we can show them what we have done with the talent they've entrusted us. Sorry, I'm mixing my parables now. Whilst it's au revoir to Cristobal, Rodrigo and Vicente, Pascual is leaving us, and we thank him for his work here. We hope he will remain in touch and visit us again. This, then, is a good moment to say a few words about the other staff who are leaving. But before I do, I'd like to thank all the staff, whether they are staying or leaving. It's been a privilege to work with you this year. Your commitment and energy provides the fuel on which Downside runs, and I am hugely grateful to every one of you, whatever your role. I thank also your families, without whose support you could not give so much commitment to Downside, and I owe so much to mine, and particularly my wife Damaris, whom I want to thank. We've been wonderfully lucky again to have such a talented group of resident sports assistants. Valeria and Finley have been with us for just 1 year, but they have shone brightly, and their impression on our community will be lasting. Powered by Duracell, Becky kept going twice as long, but has now decided to head back to her native Scotland. I'm delighted that Becky and Finley are remaining in education and taking the next steps to becoming teachers. All three have been exemplary in their generous commitment and willingness to adapt to what is needed. I extend my sincere thanks to them, as I do to Lydia, our artist in residence. She's intelligent, calm, and infectiously cheerful, and I thank her for bringing the joy of art to the centre of the school and making it so accessible and fun. Beth Ackley's story has been like many others at Downside. Her time here has extended from what she and we initially envisaged, and her role has evolved. She arrived as a graduate assistant with specific responsibilities for providing technical support in the theatre. She leaves us as a teacher of drama with a PGCE. She also has become a highly valued and respected Caverall House tutor, swimming coach, and generous contributor to Downside's rich co-curricular programme. Harry Brooking arrived as a graduate assistant as we emerged from lockdown. For the last 2 years, he's been the development lead for hockey and a central figure in promoting the positive and healthy sporting culture at Downside. As a major sport for girls and boys, he has taken his opportunity to instill strong values and embed good habits which go beyond the sporting arena and will undoubtedly have lasting impact on our community. My thanks to you, Harry, and the best of luck for future. Darren Nichols' contribution has been wide-ranging and generous over the last 3 years. He's headed up the Economics and Business Studies department whilst playing the vital supporting role in Barlow House as assistant housemaster. It's more than a coincidence that during that time the Barlow boys' singing at house music seems to have become more melodious, and I'm grateful to him for that. He has also had a harmonising effect on the second 11 football team, which has thrived under his tutelage. Rory Worsman's contract states that he is a teacher of physics and biology, but as we all know, Rory's contribution has been so much more. He's been a stalwart of the sports coaching team, a key member of the CCF, an exceptionally committed tutor and previous assistant housemaster in Smythe House, a deputy designated safeguarding lead, and for good measure, over the past year, responsible for sixth form lecture programme. He's a cyclist to boot, and I have no doubt that he would be the most highly sought after domestique on any team. You leave with our best wishes, Rory, and we look forward to seeing you when you're on the touchline, as you will no doubt visit with sports teams in the future. And finally, we come to Karen Westlake. Karen's contribution has been immense during her 6 years with us. She's worked with extraordinary commitment for the girls of Isabella and champions them in all that they do. She has also enriched our whole school community. Her cheerful, can-do attitude is priceless, as is her unshakable loyalty. Karen's high standards as a house mistress are replicated in her work as a history teacher. She'll be greatly missed in the classroom, where she inspires great confidence in her pupils, and they invariably achieve beyond their expectation. We owe her an enormous debt of gratitude as she leaves us and hands over a house community in wonderful health. You will always be welcome here. If we could give those departing members of staff a round of applause. As we did last year, I want to recognise each one of our departing Upper Six to thank and congratulate you in a small way for what you've contributed to our community, regardless of whether you've won a prize or not. But I want to take this moment to thank you as a group for your companionship as we have travelled together on your educational journey. We're extremely sad that you are leaving, but excited for you as you strike out and travel onwards, and we wish you the very best of luck as you do. We will miss you, but can enjoy what we have learnt from you during your time with us. We hope very much that you will stay in touch in the coming years. And now, I'd like to express my thanks to this year's heads of school, Anna and Freddie, for whom I have enormous admiration. They are highly impressive individuals, fully committing to every aspect of school life, but they're entirely down to earth. Their warmth, authenticity, and ability to connect with others has meant they are genuinely approachable. They've worked fantastically well together, and I'm extremely grateful to them for their support and hard work over the course of the year. They've remained calm, composed, and above all cheerful whilst managing their extensive commitments alongside their responsibilities with immense maturity. They've been wonderful ambassadors for the school. I look forward to watching their progress beyond Downside, and to say thank you, I have some gifts for them today as tokens of thanks from me and the school. There was an exceptional field of candidates to replace Anna and Freddie, and I am delighted to announce that next year's heads of school are B. Garrett and Dolu Aina. I very much look forward to working with them, and thank you for your help in organising some for today. Before I end, there are a few people I also would like to thank. Firstly, our hugely committed governing body under John's leadership for their enormously generous support of us as a school. It should be remembered that governors are volunteers, and they do what they do selflessly, and very often what they do goes unseen. My sincere thanks also go to our previous chair, Michael Bernard, who I'm delighted is here today with his wife, Catherine. And also it's wonderful to see Caroline Aylward here. Adrian was our first lay chair of governors. It's wonderful to see you, Caroline. A great deal has been achieved, but there is much still to do. Our governors help to ensure that we remain on constant cycle of improvement, and I thank them for it. I would also like to thank all those from amongst the Old Gregorian and wider Downside community who make up the Downside Association for their continued and generous support. We recognise that we at the school are custodians of an organisation which means so much to those who have gone before us, and those of you who have had a long or indeed short association with Downside. We thank you for trusting us with this responsibility and hugely value your ongoing support. And finally, I'd like to say how especially grateful we are to you, the parents, for the trust you've shown in us and for working with us. We try always to ensure that our relationship is one of partnership rather than transaction. Education is an expedition of discovery. Hopefully the perils we encounter as we travel are not as many or as dire as those Shackleton met on his journey, but we thank you for walking alongside us to ensure that your children are able to grow and develop and have life to the full, ready to take on whatever successes and challenges lie ahead of them. Thank you. And now I should explain the programme, because I think that last year there's a slight misunderstanding. The prize winners are written there, but what I'm going to do is rather do it slightly differently. I can't possibly do justice to you in a couple of phrases, so please forgive me, those of you who are leaving who are here. But I do want to acknowledge all of you, not just those who've won prizes. So what will happen is I'm going to read out a list. We're going to go in house order, and I'd like you to come up, and we have something for each of you. And if you've won a prize, then that prize will be in there, and we'll acknowledge that also. So we'll begin with Barlow House. Jude is a confident, so we'll go, I'll read out your names, but come up. But come up as I finish the list. So, Jude Bennett. Jude is a confident and generous young man, communicating easily with his peers and with adults. He's worked hard academically, been an inherent part of the fabric of Barlow, and an excellent house prefect, and a great contributor on the sports field. Nyan Danawar. Nyan has grown enormously as an individual over the last 4 years. It's not always been plain sailing, but his openness and honesty have meant that he has always been receptive to learning. His charm will no doubt continue to hold him in good stead. Alex Di Pietrantonio. Alex has been a generous and assured head of house, providing a good example to his peers and the younger members of Barlow. His contribution to the broader life of the school has been positive and varied, not least as a Lectio leader. Oliver Flynn. Oliver is academically capable and driven, never short of a word. He is always lively and supportive towards his peers. His contribution on the tennis court will be missed. Joseph Last Sutton. Joe's contribution over his 7 years with us has been immense. He's never rested on his laurels, but has always driven himself to use his talents to the full. As an outstanding but humble sportsman, it is fitting that he should win the prize for physical education. Danny Manzo-Duffy. Danny has developed immensely during his 3 years with us, becoming increasingly disciplined in his approach to his study, broader in his interests, and more alert to the needs of others in the community. Lewis Tang. Lewis is a regular recipient of academic awards and is the deserved winner of the Physics Prize. He loves a challenge and has contributed greatly to build the culture of scholarship at Downside. He is passionate about chess and has done more than anyone to promote the game, leading from the front. His talents are numerous and extend to music and racket sports too. If they could come up now, please. We'll move on to Cavril House. Layla Akenzua Al-Karim. Layla is both extremely talented and immensely determined. Academically, she's led from the front and was deserving of her offer from Oxford. She is the winner of the prizes in all three of her. She's winner of prizes in all three of her A-level subjects: French, Spanish, and psychology. Her contribution to sport has been outstanding too, captaining the first team netball for 2 years in a row. Gladys Chi. Gladys is dedicated and diligent, giving her utmost effort and attention to everything she does. She's highly accomplished as a musician and dancer, as she showed in yesterday's performance of Dido and Aeneas. As a prefect, she's displayed a calm and nurturing demeanour with the younger pupils. She wins prizes for economics and psychology. Nehi Egbafo. Nehi has embraced her role as a deputy head of school with purpose and enthusiasm. She's guided and mentored the younger pupils and developed engaging activities. She's excelled in the house, displaying a motivated and positive attitude that influences others. In my time at Downside, I cannot remember a better performance than hers in Chicago, and she's the deserved winner of the Barron Drama Prize. Anna Hayhurst. Well, I've spoken about Anna a little bit, but she has excelled in her role as head of school. Nobody contributes more across all aspects of school life, reflecting her leadership style of service and kindness. Anna motivates others by setting an example, whether it's in music, choral, sports, assemblies, school councils, tours, or OG events. She is a fitting and worthy winner of the James Turnbull Cup for Sportswoman of the Year. Olivia Malik. Olivia is a leading academic and scholar. As a prefect, she has made a very positive contribution, taking the lead in house debating and being involved in all house events, helping to plan, organise and galvanise the girls. Livia Mossman. Liv's confidence has grown considerably during her time here. She's been a calm and kind house prefect, helping to plan and organise events. She has contributed a great deal in the sporting arena, representing the first team sports in all three terms. Maya Strauss. Maya, as head of Cavril House, has displayed remarkable energy and enthusiasm. She genuinely cares about her peers, younger pupils and staff. Outstanding academically, a stalwart of first-team sport and head of chaplaincy, she also found time to organise a charity pub quiz. Annabelle Walker. Annabelle contributes to so many aspects of school and house life. She's a committed first-team sportswoman. She's taken on the challenge of Gold DFE and been a regular server at Mass. As a prefect, she has shown kindness and thoughtfulness and organised some great events in her role as house guest mistress. Please could they all come up now? Now, there are more girls in Isabella, so we'll do it half at a time. So, Valentina Aiello. Valentina is bright, hard-working, and genuinely caring. As an academic, she has always set herself and others the highest standards, which she has consistently met. Clover Bainton Coward. Clover has shown determination and strength of character during her time here. As a keen horsewoman, she knows how to face down a challenge. Watch this space. Whatever she decides to do, she'll make her mark. Chloe Blackmore. The school community has been hugely enriched by Chloe's presence. High energy, never tepid, and I thank her for all that she has given us. Downside will be a lot quieter place without her. And although I didn't witness it, her human fruit machine will be remembered for years to come, I gather. Isabel Crowther. Isabel has been a wonderful role model as a house prefect in Isabella, conducting herself at all times cheerfully and generously. She's hardworking, kind, and motivated. Maria Diamond. Maria has excelled in just about every area of school life, academically, in music, sport, and drama. She's also, I would say, the best reader in maths that I can remember in my 15 years here. She wins the mathematics and biology prizes. Eleanor Howlett. In her 5 years here, Ellie has really blossomed. She's always excelled in sport, so our admiration for her has been further enhanced by the resilience she has demonstrated in the face of an injury-hit final year. Her calm kindness and reliability are hugely valued by her housemistress. Pui Yin Huang. Pui Yin has grown in confidence. She has embraced opportunities, inspiring others with her courage and determination, and as a house prefect, she's been a role model. I gather her Saturday feast will also be remembered. She wins the chemistry prize, which bodes well for her ambition to become a vet. If they could come up now. Valentine Lasso. Valentine has worked hard at everything that she's done with huge dedication to her house this year. And her organisation of the house at home in the first half of term was incredibly impressive. She engaged the whole house with a fate managing even to have a duck pond and a beach in the cloisters, whilst also raising, I gather, £1,000 for a local charity. Maria has made an extraordinary impact in her 2 years here. She always exudes enthusiasm and joy, and her confidence has blossomed. As a deputy head girl, she has also been an outstanding role model, providing invaluable support to younger pupils. Her dedication as an academic is obvious, and she is deserved winner of 3 prizes in Spanish, history, and history of art. Ariane Ramrutan. Ari is an inspiration. Having faced significant challenges herself, she has an extraordinary compassion for others. Her positive influence on the younger members of the choir has ensured they will have the confidence to step up next year. Her artistic talents were also to the fore in her organisation of the fashion show at the beginning of last year, and she's a worthy winner of the Thai Medal for Artistic Endeavour. Academically, too, she makes the most of her ability and wins the German prize. Scarlett Ridge. Scarlett's disciplined and scholarly approach, along with her quiet compassion, provides a wonderful example. Her offer from Cambridge to read linguistics is well deserved, as is the award of the Classics Prize. My thanks to her for her part also in the organisation of the highly memorable fashion show. Scarlett Vaux. Scarlett has been a wonderful deputy head of house and has grown in confidence enormously over the last 2 years. She has served as an outstanding role model, supporting and nurturing the younger pupils. She excels in the face of a challenge, whether it be in the academic or sporting arena. Jacoa Weatherhead. Jacoa is a remarkable young woman who has contributed to a great deal of in the school and her house. She has a calm authority and ability to take action without drama or fuss. This, along with her excellent work ethic, has made her an inspiring role model. She is also a worthy winner of the prize for religious studies. If they could come up. And now on to Roberts. Jason Howe. Jason has displayed remarkable dedication as a deputy head of house, and his composed and mature approach has positively influenced his peers. His work ethic has been unwaveringly admirable, and his commitment to downsized music sees him a worthy winner of the Tambling Cup. Pedro Puente Hefea. Pedro is a committed and academically diligent pupil. He's made significant contributions in the house, particularly as sports and events captain, and has also made an extremely positive impact as a school sportsman, especially on the football field as captain of the first team. He's also been an excellent head of sacristy. Furthermore, he's the winner of the CCF prize. Casper Shaw. It's hard to believe that Casper's time at Downside is coming to an end. He's blossomed here, and his contributions to our school community have been hugely significant. He's highly regarded as by both pupils and staff, and his work in Powell House has been enormously appreciated. He wins the prize for design as well as the Regimental Sergeant Major Cup. Archie Smelly. Archie has been an excellent head of house, demonstrating strong and compassionate leadership. He has worked exceptionally hard for his A-levels, studying diligently and encouraging his peers. He should be proud of his progress and resilience. He is an exceptional sportsman, representing the school first teams in all three major sports, and he scored a century the other day in the up at Ampleforth, and he is a worthy winner of the Cave Cup for Sportsman of the Year. Freddie Whitaker. Again, I've already spoken about Freddie as head of school, but he's been very supportive of his house too. He's shown considerable determination in his approach to his A-level studies and continued to develop his talent as a classical guitarist. His determination is also evidenced by the fact that he has completed his Gold DV. I'm grateful for his generous support of the chaplaincy and Lectio. In addition, he wins the Timothy Fogg Poetry Prize. Ryan Wu. Ryan's discipline and diligence in his approach to studies has set a positive example for all, but he's also built meaningful relationships and provided support for his peers. He's been a stalwart of the newly established volleyball team, and his jump serve is something to behold. Ryan Ewan. Ryan has exhibited superb commitment and diligence as he has carried out his duties as prefect and guest master of Roberts House. Always reliable and sincere, Ryan has worked very hard and contributed so much to the house. Ryan has been an excellent influence on other pupils in the house, approaching exams maturely with great focus and supporting those around him. If they could come up, please. Finally, we come to Smythe, and we'll do that in two halves as well, actually. I think I missed out one leaver when I was talking about staff. I should say a brief word about a Smythe leaver who moved on at Easter, John Story. Unfortunately, he's not here today, but I'm sure you'll join me in thanking John for the contribution he made to Downside during his time across the pastoral, academic and extracurricular life of the school. He was a highly committed housemaster, and the boys of Smythe, I think, would have hugely benefited, and I think it's right that we acknowledge him today. He contributed beyond Smythe too, steering the classics department expertly and contributing to the school's games and CCF programme. He was, of course, hugely supportive of the spiritual life here at Downside, and I'm delighted that he is enjoying his new role as chaplain at Winchester College. So we come to the boys. Charlie Border. Charlie is polite, engaging and well respected. He takes his positive work ethic and dedication to everything that he does, whether it be his academic work or in the sporting arena, and particularly he is outstanding on the rugby field. He is the winner of the Business Prize. Dylan Chan. Dylan is an exceptional young man. He's been an exemplary head of PAL, showing commitment and considerable patience. He has been a wonderful servant to Downside Music, both as a percussionist and in the choir. He's excelled as an academic too, and is the winner of prizes for computer science and music. He also wins the Squire Mathematics Prize. Zach Healy. Zach is confident, polite and amiable. He is a talented individual, academically able and with considerable sporting talent. He remains extremely humble and always looks for the good in the team or community to which he's a part. Ivor Jones. Ivor has impressed everyone with his infectious and cheerful enthusiasm for life. He's been an excellent deputy head of house. He's a gifted young man, especially as a sportsman, but is never other than humble. His selection for the independent school's Lamb 15 was well deserved. Leo Matthews. Leo is an outstanding sportsman. He's had challenges with injuries over the years, and it's hugely to his credit that he has remained cheerful and motivated despite the frustration. It was fitting that he should be awarded the Gordon Hemming Cricket Award for the best performance by a first 11 player against the OGs. Could they come up, please? So to the final five. Ambrose Mui. Ambrose has been with us for 7 years. I cannot think of a pupil who's developed more in their time at Downside. Being asked to be his sponsor last year as he was received as a Catholic was one of my highlights as a teacher, as was seeing him speak so articulately and compellingly about neurodiversity this year at hymn practice. He deservedly wins the James Lewis Prize. Thomas Pike. Tom is bright, hard-working and polite. His dedication to his studies have been exemplary, and he has applied himself in every aspect of school life. He's shown commitment in football and cricket, as well as taking on the challenge of Gold DAV. It's not all good, though. He's a Portsmouth fan, so I've done my best to avoid him since Southampton's relegation for the Premier League, from the Premier League. Ayrton Rose. Ayrton is another who will leave an enormous gap. He's been a stalwart of Downside Music and the drama productions over the years, right up until yesterday afternoon when he performed as Aeneas in Dido and Aeneas. He was outstanding too in Chicago, but he has contributed much too as an academic and a sportsman. He's also managed to complete his Gold DV and is a worthy winner of the Schola Cantorum Prize. Matthew Stanislas. Matthew is an exceptional young man. As head of house, he has demonstrated great leadership, and I know how much Mr. Pollard has appreciated his safe hand on the tiller as he's taken over as Smythe housemaster. Matthew is a talented and hard-working academic, and his tenacity is evident on the sports field as well. And the fact that he's completed Gold DV. He is the winner of the Hugh Watts Cup for Most Improved Rugby Player. And Ollie Webb. Ollie has made the very most of his opportunities, and we are sad to see him go, as his departure marks the end of Clan Webb in Smythe House. He's hard-working and sets himself high standards in whatever he does, be it in the classroom or on the sports fields. He sets a positive example for his peers and is well-liked and respected by all in the community. Please can they come up? So we're down to the next page, and we're coming on to first class honours. And I'm delighted that we do have first class honours. It goes to Tallulah Horton, a Bachelor of Arts in Music, first class honours, and R. Dickinson Prize for Outstanding Final Candidate. Tallulah has just finished her Masters in Musicology at St Hugh's College, Oxford, as a full Clarendon Scholar. Alongside this, she holds a choral scholarship at the Queen's College and a place on the 16 Young Artists programme, Genesis 16. Most thrilling of all, though, she says, is how many girls at Downside are wearing waistcoats this year. She was the first to do so. So, Tallulah, come on. The Boves Prize for Outstanding Academic Achievement. The Boves Prize is a legacy of a former teacher of classics at Downside, Mrs. Marjorie Neate. And cruciverbalists amongst you will understand the significance of the prize's name. I don't know whether you do or not. Mr. Rawlins wrote that for me, and I didn't know what it was, but anyway. It is a Latin word, but anyway, I didn't know what the crossword clue was. The prize is awarded to a member of the Upper Sixth for outstanding academic achievement, and there are several of our pupils who would be worthy winners of this prize. This year's recipient has consistently evinced an exemplary work ethic throughout the sixth form, an exceptionally gifted linguist with both a flair and passion for her A-level subjects, and holding an offer to read modern languages at Oxford University. This year's winner of the Boves Prize is Leila Akenzua. Now we come to the R.R. Stokes Memorial Award, and before I award that, my thanks go again to Peter Jenkins and Mary Henderson for conducting the interviews, and Peter's continued support in funding the prize. It's extremely generous of you and provides a great opportunity for our pupils. And Peter and Mary, we had a number of candidates for this, and Peter and Mary wrote this after they'd interviewed them. They were both very impressed by the quality of this year's candidates for the Stokes Memorial Prize. Selecting one of them to receive the prize was even harder than in the past. And please be assured that they interviewed well and made a very positive impression on them. Their predicted A-level grades were such that their applications were credible. Their career aspirations were in keeping with the scientific direction taken by Richard Stokes 100 years ago. All of them were able to convince us of their enthusiasm, commitment, and ability in a wide range of co-curricular activities. All evidence an inclination to think of others and to help or benefit others in appropriate ways, as well as a desire to contribute to the well-being of the Downside community, of which they recognise themselves to be part. Some came across better equipped by nature to be leaders than others, but all demonstrated that they had been ready to take on leadership responsibilities when opportunities arose and have carried them out conscientiously. We felt confident that all would be a credit to themselves and Downside in years that lie ahead, and that they would enrich the societies of which they are a part. In the end, they had to make a choice, and in the end, the choice fell on a candidate who they felt seemed to have the most potential to become the public figure that Richard Stokes became, and that is Olivia Mallock. And we now award the Sweats Cup, the house with the most merits and distinctions given across the whole academic year, which this year goes to Isabella House. We have the Dowie Prize, which is awarded to a pupil who embodies Benedictine values. And we're hugely grateful to the Dowie Foundation for sponsoring this award. And it gives us a chance to recognise one of our truly remarkable pupils. This year, this goes to Maya Strauss. She's been, I'll do this a slightly different way around, but she's been a head of house, head of secretary, determined and able, champion debater, part of the winning mock trial team, successful in sport also. She's been a joy to teach, and she's always searching for the maximum to make progress. She conducted the winning house performance at House Music event, and she's been a hugely vital help as head of sacristy. She's been a positive force in her year group with a sense of reverence, fun, learning and self-discipline throughout. So it's not surprising. Maya, you win this award. So now I'm going to hand over to the President of the Old Gregorian Society, Mr. Jonathan Grew, who will present the Old Gregorian Medal.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to break the tradition and add a few extra bits today. One of the traditions that the Old Gregorian Society has is that we make a few honorary OGs, people who haven't been able to be at Downside but have contributed a huge amount. And I had the pleasure of awarding one to Michael Bernard, the previous chairman of the governors, the other day in Dorset. And today I'd like to do a couple of others. First of all, I would like to do it for the Mankewe. I think the headmaster has said more than enough about the contribution they have made to Downside in every respect, and to so many OGs in their time since they've been here. And as he said, we hope that we'll see you back here before too long. So I would like to call Cristobal, Rodrigo and Vincente to the stage to receive their OG tithe. Tied it up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I have one other honorary OG tie that I'd like to give out today. The headmaster has dropped a hint in his earlier words that he'd been here for 15 years, and that is the magic time that you're allowed to become an honorary Old Gregorian. Andrew has done so much for the school. He arrived as deputy headmaster, and he has been here during a very turbulent time with monastery separation from the school and the move to Buckfast, not to mention the COVID pandemic, and not to mention, I think there have been a few other extra bits of paperwork to be done with the old investigation and safeguarding issues. But I think that we are very grateful for everything that he has done as Old Gregorians and I'm sure present staff. I did ask Father Lear just what his initial, if he'd like to do something for me and tell me a few words. And he gave me he gave me two stories, in fact, but one of which I liked, which was he checked out at Camford, where Andrew was before, if there were any weak spots, as he described them, which they didn't find any. They did discover he doesn't like paperwork. I don't know if that's true. But what... He wasn't sure. Anyway, when he arrived for his interview, I gather he was in a proper tweed suit, just like ones my father used to wear, Father Lear said. That made up my mind. You don't see suits like that very much nowadays. So he obviously thought you were a good chap. And I also got another little anecdote which told me about, I gather he was having a problem with some pupils who were being rather naughty or whatever, but they had exemplary careers, and they were told that their time at Downside, they were told that they wouldn't be allowed to go to the ball if they didn't, for their misbehaviour. But so he shared this thing with Andrew, and Andrew decided, wouldn't it be a good idea if they tidied up the classics library? He was about to become head of classics. A good plan for the future. It has been my pleasure to watch you for the last 15 years. It was this time 10 years ago that I was in the audience here as a parent, doing my final parent, having educated 4 children. I didn't think I'd be back 10 years later, but it's been a great pleasure to watch you at close hand. I did actually, I think, meet Andrew when he was in his teenager in Lourdes a long time ago. So I have known Andrew and his family for a very long time. So it is my great pleasure to give him his Old Gregorian tie. My next job is to award the OG, Old Gregorian Medal. This award was conceived with the aim to recognise the outstanding contribution an OG has made either to society as a whole or to St. Gregory's Society. This year's recipient has made contributions to both society and St. Gregory's Society on a very large scale. John Scanlon is a papal knight, Knight Commander of the Pontifical Order of St. Gregory the Great, awarded for his charitable work for the Church. He's also a Knight Grand Cross of the Equestrian Order of the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem, working to support Christians in the Holy Land. In addition to the above, John has been awarded the Cross of Officer of the Royal Order of Isabella Cattolica, which was awarded to him by His Majesty King Juan Carlos and the Spanish Ministry of Foreign Affairs in recognition of his contribution for better relations between Spain and England. Upon leaving Downside, John qualified as a solicitor, and his law firm in Mayfair, London, Landau & Scanlon, was a great success. After his marriage to his late wife Marina, Spain became very much part of his life, and his enormous contribution to the Anglo-Spanish Society was recognised by the award from the then King of Spain, mentioned a moment ago. Marina was always a great supporter of Downside, and I particularly remember her delicious food after council meetings when John was president of St Gregory's Society in the 1980s. Behind the scenes, John has been a marriage counsellor, a supporter of Catholic schools, in particular St Philip's, which nearly closed down, but by his success, his contributions, and many others, I'm sure, is now a flourishing London school. In addition, he supported the Catholic Order Hospital in Pinner, and on Sundays, John can be found in Westminster Cathedral in his role as a Eucharistic minister. He has always been most committed to the Catholic Church and priests in general, and I'm told that his wife jokingly called him the Bishop of Belgravia. Downside is a very special place to John, as are AG's. Over the last 50 years, John has contributed in many ways, the most public being the tri-annual Madrid dinner, which he started and now is run by his son. He's also run balls and many other events for Downside, and given his wisdom and advice to the AG Council over half a century, as well as managing to go on 16 Lourdes pilgrimages, 14 of which I gather were with AMV, and I don't really understand how he managed to do that, because you're meant to retire when you're 28, but he clearly went on a little bit, and his company was obviously well valued. The former Easter retreat at Downside was run by the monks for so many years, I know is a loss to many, and in particular John. So it's hoped that next year there'll be a one-day retreat to Downside. And after Father Michael's homily this morning, I think maybe it ought to be a pilgrimage. I feel my personal pilgrimage, Oliver Plunkett, I was brought up in County Armagh myself in Northern Ireland, and then I went to prep school in County Meath, where he was brought up, and then I came to Downside, and I managed to go to Rome as well for his beatification when he was a saint with a famous Downside monk, Father Woolston Philpston. But that's an aside. So I would just like to now say that I apologise to John for the many things I may have left out about his life. However, he is a very well-deserved member, and it's long overdue, his El Gregorian Medal. So congratulations, John.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm not sure with that build-up that all of that is true, and even if it is true, you all know very well that when honours are displayed or issued, there are a lot of other people who are not mentioned and have contributed to what has gone on. What I would say is that my late wife and I started the triennial OG dinner in Madrid nearly 40 years ago, and we couldn't have done that without the help of the Ortúzar brothers. That was John, Gaiska, and Iñaki, and they helped for many years in that event, and obviously one had certain connections, but they had many connections, and they were responsible really for it being very successful. So that's the first thing. The other thing is that when Iñaki, the middle brother, died suddenly on a pedal tennis court, the remaining two brothers made a huge donation to Downside, and they were responsible for this hall in which we're in this afternoon being built. And so I, on your behalf, salute them. There was only one brother left. I spoke to him the other day. We're both getting rather old, but still short-lived the telephone to each other, which can be amusing. So that was the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing is I wanted to tell you a story, if I may, about my own experience when I was in my last term at Downside. And I was very pleased with myself, and had no reason to be, but I just felt very pleased with myself. And I had a friend of mine who ordered a new, rather smart grey suit, so that when his parents took him out to lunch on a Sunday, he could wear something other than the regulation suit. And I thought that my looks might be improved if I had a similar suit. So I went down to see the school tailor, and he measured me up, and I ordered the suit. And I was very pleased about that. And a week later, to my surprise, I appeared on the headmaster's list of students that the headmaster wished to see. And for someone of my seniority, that really didn't happen very often. Anyway, I kept the appointment, and I saw the headmaster, and we had a nice chat about the school. And then he said to me, "I see you've ordered a new suit." And I thought, I wonder how he knows about that. And then he said, "Did you have your parents' permission?" And I had to say, "No, I didn't." And he then said to me, "Well, John, I'm going to let you into a secret. It's between you and I, but I'm going to tell you about it because I want you to understand life a bit more before you go out in the wide, wide world." He said, about 3 years ago, when I would have been 15, the school decided that they had to increase the school fees for the various pupils because of inflation and increased costs. And so they wrote to all the parents and told them the good news. And my poor father wrote back and said, unfortunately, he was unable to deal with this, and he would have to take me away at the end of the term. Now, Downside didn't want me to leave. I've no idea why they took that view, but they did. And my father was allowed to carry on paying the fees at the lower rate for the next 3 years. Now, this made a huge difference to me. If I'd had to leave the school at 15, I don't think I would ever have qualified as a solicitor, and I wouldn't have had the opportunities that fortunately fell my way. So I have an enormous debt to this school and to the friends that I've made and the people I've met. And Father Wilfrid, who in fact trained as a lawyer, he was very wise and treated me far better than I deserved to be for not realizing that I was being irresponsible. So I have a great feeling for this school. I have lots of OG contacts and friends. When I had an 80th birthday a few years ago, I think there were 26 OGs there and 4 or 5 who couldn't come for various reasons. It is a marvelous school, and the pupils who are here have a wonderful opportunity. What I do now want to say is that my future remarks are really going to relate to those of you who this afternoon, in a few minutes, are going to become OGs. And I hope that you're going to enjoy that experience and that you will retain your friendships and your connection with Downside for the rest of your life. And there are lots of things that we do within the Old Gregorian Society, some of which you may be aware of, and I'll just mention one or two of them. We have lunches and dinners all over the place in the UK. Obviously, there's a London dinner once a year. We then have gatherings in places like Hong Kong, occasionally in the States, certainly in Paris and in Madrid and Dublin, and there are quite a number of others that I haven't mentioned. So you've got that opportunity of meeting OGs in all sorts of parts of the world. That's the first thing. The second thing is that there are various activities that go on. I don't know whether you are aware of the Downside settlement, but that is a charity run chiefly by OGs, and they basically mentor deprived children in the East End of London, supplying them with a venue where they can swim, they can box, they can play football, they can make relationships with other people. And that's very important. It's been going for about 100 years. It's run by an OG. And because you've been so privileged in being here, there's obviously a great responsibility for you to try and pass on your knowledge to others who are less fortunate. And then, of course, there is the Order of Malta Volunteers, which was started by Father Raphael Appleby and continued by Father Philip Jebb, both of whom were headmasters here. And you will know that that is a charity composed of young people under 30 in the main, who take a pilgrimage to Lourdes every year, and something like 150 helpers are joined by doctors and nurses and a few religious, and they look after somewhere in the region of 50 sick adults and also some children. And I would just tell you one experience I had, if I may. When I first went, I think I was 50 years old, and I went up to my keep leader and said, "What do you want me to do tomorrow?" And he said, "Well, I'd like you to look after Harry, who's got cerebral palsy." So he had no coordination with his muscles, and speaking was difficult. And we were going up to the lake at Lourdes for a picnic and swimming. Unfortunately, I got a very agreeable life jacket, and I put this life jacket on this chap, and he just took off like a rocket. In the sea, he was free. His lack of mobility no longer applied because the buoyancy kept him going. And the joy in that guy's face, I can see it even today, that he'd found something he could do and do it probably as well as other people. So Lourdes is a great place to go. It's also, for those of you who leave Downside today, it looks very good on your CV. It shows that you care about other people. So I commend your doing that if you can. They tend to go in the last week of July. It's very hard work, and by the time you've finished, you'll be shattered, but joyful. And then, of course, to try and fund that body, they have a ball at the Grosvenor House once a year, where something in the region of 600 to 800 young people dance the night away and raise funds for the charity to assist people in going to Lourdes and to assist them in doing other things for their benefit. So those are just certain things that you can consider. Remaining part of the Downside family is very important. I've found it quite amazing, and you meet people all over the place, and immediately they're there to talk to you and to help you. So what I'd finally say to those of you who are leaving, don't forget to thank your parents for sending you here. Don't forget to thank your teachers and backup staff for all they've done for you while you've been here. And enjoy relationships with fellow OGs as well as with other people. Keep the faith and keep trying. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. And now we finish with the award of the Gregorian Medal. And again, as we've done in the previous years, there are two. The first recipient is the embodiment of the values of Downside. She serves as an exceptional role model both within her house and the wider school community, embracing her opportunities and showing dedication. Her commitment to her academic studies is commendable. Her contributions extend beyond the academic realm, and she consistently serves as a positive ambassador, welcoming visitors and always happy to meet prospective families, provide tours to support the development of the admissions department. Her selfless and thoughtful kindness is evident throughout the school, as she quietly assists anyone in need. Her unwavering commitment also to the chaplaincy team demonstrates the central role her faith plays in her life. Within her house, she's proven to be invaluable. Her role as head of junior girls is characterised by kindness and grace, earning the respect and admiration of both staff and pupils. She'll be hugely missed, and as she served as an inspiration in her house and in the entire school. She consistently prioritises the needs of others, putting aside thoughts for herself. The first Gregorian Medal winner is Maria Materna. And the second Gregorian Medal is awarded to a truly remarkable young man who has made the very most of his opportunities here. And he's exemplified Benedictine values. He's highly gifted academically and successfully took on the challenge of taking 4 A-levels alongside all his other commitments, which are extensive. But there's never been a conflict between working for the highest grades and freely giving so much to service. He's been central to Downside's music for a number of years. As a percussion player, he teaches younger pupils who join him in concert band or percussion lineup. In fact, when Steve Jobbins has been unable to take a rehearsal for the percussion lineup, he stepped up and done an excellent job. He's also been a stalwart in the choir, swelling its numbers by bringing others with him, and has recently become a regular soloist. He brings people together and can often be found in the main hall in conversation with people from all walks of life at the school. As head of PAL, he set the highest examples with integrity, reliability, compassion, and care for the boys. Always smart, punctual, and hardworking, no task is ever beneath him. The boys of PAL confide in him and readily seek his advice. He is also extremely highly regarded by his peers, and he is Dylan Chan. Now we're going to end with a hymn, but before we do that, I just want to say a final thank you to my PA, Katie Walker, without whose extraordinary hard work and meticulous planning, today wouldn't have happened. Or yesterday, probably for that matter, any other day. But she is here as a parent, as Annabelle leaves. But I want to thank her hugely and thank also Becky Moran and all the others who helped with organising this prize day. My sincere thanks to you. So let's sing. We'd better stand up, I think, and Mr. McNamara will lead us. Thank you very much. And time for lunch, I think.